we've got Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs, retired, joining us to talk about the Bo Bergdahl situation, how he goes from a matter of weeks that he's totally mentally ill, no one can talk to him, the press can't talk to him, to, oh, he's back on active duty. That's just not done. With a supposed intelligence trove, like an individual held for years by the Taliban, when he was really basically ordered to go give himself up to the group. And I believe from day one, he is a deep cover infiltrator. And that's what Biggs thinks as well. A lot of other people I trust think that. And now the fact that the story's a non-issue, the question is, what was the point of the story? Well, the point of the story, we said a month ago, and we say it now, and the evidence is mounting, was a distraction from the mounting VA scandal. Just like Red Adair would send in dynamite to blow up an oil fire, you take a big story to extinguish an even bigger one. Use an explosion to take out an explosion. The public loves a mystery. They love a whodunit. Is he a traitor? Isn't he a traitor? Right out of central casting. But it also had a foreign effect, and we'll discuss that. But it creates the illusion that, again, the West is actually fighting with the Taliban and al-Qaeda. They are fighting with the grassroots organizations, but not with the main players you see on the nightly news. And that's been proven in triplicate with ISIS and al-Qaeda and more. And there's a bunch of mainstream news articles last week we're going to go over where it's just admitted, oh, yeah, they really work for the CIA, for British intelligence, for Pakistani intelligence. And it is truly disgusting. And they're actually growing a real radical Islamic threat in the West that will be used as a further excuse to bring in social control. Wayne Madsen, who quite frankly is a bigger whistleblower than Snowden over the years, he's brought out more than Snowden has. I'm just saying in the past they would ignore whistleblowers. He's going to be joining us to cover the waterfront. Hadn't been on about 3-4 months. And then we've also got Syrian girl from Australia, whose family was formerly in the ruling party over there before Assad had them kicked out. So they're actually anti-Assad, but even more anti-al-Qaeda. Everything she's been saying here the last year and a half has turned out to be accurate. She's going to be joining us as well. So all that and more today. There's also some really interesting comedy relief up on Infowars.com and DrudgeReport.com is where I found it, CNSNews.com. White House, we've substantially improved the tranquility of the global community. I meant to do this for the show and I got busy and didn't do it. Guys, just search engine, world more unstable than ever. I mean, they've got British Ministry of Defense reports, Pentagon reports, they've got think tank reports, university reports. But I mean, anybody can look at the world with Ukraine, the Middle East, the dollar in decline, Mexico collapsing, Latin America in depression, the Caribbean in depression, Japan in 20 years of recession, China having hundreds of riots a day, thousands a week. I mean, the world is more unstable than ever. And so we're being told that Obama has created just such wondrous, happy tranquility. That's why the Pentagon's own report 2 weeks ago said they're preparing for collapse and total civil unrest and martial law, and the British are as well. Because Obama has created incredible tranquility. And again, that's a lie within a lie. Obama's the front man for the globalists, the technocrats, who are destabilizing the planet by design. So it's kind of a lie to even counter him and say, no, you have destabilized things, because he's running nothing. But politically, as a front man, must be politically brought down to discredit their system and to scare the other functionaries of the globalists that they might get in trouble.
Celebrate the spirit of freedom and liberty upon which our nation was founded at InfoWarsShop.com. Molon Lave is ancient Greek for come and take it. This popular design combines both classic Greek Spartan imagery with modern M16 assault rifles. Now available in women's tees and proudly made in the USA. Celebrate the spirit of 1776 with the George Washington brass belt buckle or this incredibly sharp-looking 1776 hat. Badass. And be sure to check out the new arrivals at InfoWars Life. where you can prepare your body to perform at peak levels with Survival Shield Nascent Iodine, Super Male Vitality, and Fluoride Shield. And wake up, America. Immune Support Blend is the healthy choice for the gourmet coffee lover. So get incredibly high-quality, freedom-based products and help fund the revolution at InfoWarsShop.com.
I just want people to think about the big picture out there and understand there is a lot of things going on that are bigger and more important than all the little criminal politicians with their Air Force One and their big red carpets trying to make us feel small and powerless. They're doing that on purpose. And now the White House has come out, and the story's in the printer. You guys bring that into me, thank you. Now the White House has come out and said, we've substantively improved the tranquility of the global community. And if you continue down that line, if you have a business, you didn't build that, raising the debt limit does not raise the debt. If you have a doctor, you can keep them, and this will cut the price of your health care to that of a phone bill or cable bill instead of doubling or tripling it. There are no death panels, and Barack Obama is a progressive liberal. Well, only if you think that deadly pancreatic cancer metastasizing into the liver and the lungs and the brain and the lymph nodes is something good in the word progressive, then I guess it is something that is good. In other wild headlines, before I plunge into all the really serious news here today, NASA has come out and said that humans will prove we are not alone. How many times did NASA find what they believe are the skeletal remains or the imprint of microbes on Mars? And how many times did they then retract it later saying it wasn't? Look, I don't believe we're alone in the universe. Let's be clear about that. Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, we're not alone on this planet. There's a lot of things going on heaven and earth that we are not privy to. Just look at all the ancient writings. They all mirror each other across the globe. There's definitely some things going on here. We're not in Kansas, ladies and gentlemen. We're in deep space. Humans will prove we are not alone in the universe, CBS News, within 20 years. The word is, and you can research this with the SETI system, the high-powered radio telescopes that they've had up since the 70s, that they've gotten a lot of transmissions that are not of naturally occurring space chatter coming out of planets and suns and black holes. And let's just hope that whoever's listening is nice. And, of course, I would venture to say that in the Bible it talks about these entities that aren't visible to the eye but are right there around us. And of course, that would fit into the fourth and fifth dimension equations that are out there. And again, I don't mean to go off into the speculative realm here today. When you've got the Pope saying there's aliens and that, that they're prepared for them to come, and you've got NASA saying get ready, and then there's all the original moon footage that didn't get released till later with a whole string of different astronauts saying that their ships were followed by other craft, and then NASA ordered that information suppressed. There's obviously something going on. And again, I've talked to Buzz Aldrin privately, and I've talked to Buzz Aldrin on the air, and Buzz Aldrin's assistant is a listener and did get Buzz Aldrin, second person to walk on the moon, on the show. And then there was quite a freak out after that happened. And he is not coming back on the show. Just like we were 1 micron from getting Chuck Yeager on the broadcast till government people found out and got involved, because they don't want these icons coming on the show. But expanding on that, I have told part of the story about Buzz Aldrin. And the only reason I tell this again is because it's so fantastical. I'm out in Hollywood, and I'd already interviewed this person before, Buzz Aldrin, and the phone rings, and this Hollywood star's house I was at was going to be going to dinner with him in a couple days. And I was invited, but I couldn't stay in town. I had to come back. I wish I would have gone now. And they're going to dinner, ended up being on the news. It was on TMZ, to a steakhouse a few days later. And this was about a 30-minute conversation on speakerphone, sitting out over the Hollywood Hills in the classic Hollywood setting with the big pool and the butler bringing, iced tea. Just Matrix-like bizarreness. And I'm sitting up there, and the Matrix-like weirdness is that Buzz Aldrin's on the phone, speakerphone, on an iPhone. It was like an iPhone 1. And he's conversing with this Hollywood star. And I chime in a few times. And he's saying all this wild stuff off record. And then he says, by the way, the Indians in a few months are going to crash a probe into the moon, and they're going to discover water. Of course, we really discovered it there, but weren't supposed to release that info. But just be waiting for that. Folks, it wasn't in the news yet they were going to crash a probe in. And I'm thinking, Buzz Aldrin's nuts at this point. This is how naive I was even then. Okay, about a month later or so, they announced they're going to crash a probe in. And then a couple months later, I'm walking through an airport, and there's USA Today with the cover. Indians discover water by crashing the probe in, and then it sent up the ice crystals. Another probe, that dropped that probe, flew back by and picked up the ice crystals. There's the headline, India's first lunar mission finds water on the moon. But when Buzz Aldrin came on the show, he goes, we need to land a probe on Mars's one moon, and there you'll find the monolith. And it was probably put there by an advanced intelligence. And that's all I can tell you. Then off air, I'm like, come on, talk more about it. He goes, no, that's all I can say. That's all I can say. And then I have this conversation at Charlie Sheen's house with him. And I mean, it's Buzz Aldrin, folks. A guy that punches people out that says he didn't go to the moon. And of course, I knew Raymond Teague. He died. I guess it was earlier this year or late last year. What a sweetheart he was. He was on the main Mars mission. Main moon missions, ran the RCA cameras on the moon, ran the Skylab cameras, the space shuttle cameras. He was mission 1 command. He said, no, we were there. But then he said, I can't tell you the other stuff. It's just you're dead on. It's more advanced. So basically, they've got Tinker Toy missions that they show you, piggybacked with real missions on top of it. And that's what Dr. Bob Bowman, who died about a year ago, nuclear physicist, fighter bomber pilot, Vietnam, just another amazing individual. That's exactly what he said. But the monolith, and again, I don't know why I went off into this with all this important news today. It's just that I see the story up on drudgereport.com. It's also up on Infowars.com. NASA, humans will prove we are not alone in the universe within 20 years. Well, whether it's a blue beam psyop or whatever it is, maybe it isn't true. Maybe it's a psyop. Ronald Reagan, the Pope, they've all been saying, outside aliens would unify us and the rest of it. Kissinger said that for world government. They have UN studies about it. Lyndon LaRouche wanted to put a space-based system up in the 70s to unify the world around asteroid and comet repulsion or shoot-downs, and thought that was a way to bring the planet together. And that was picked up by the CIA, that plan in the early 70s. That's in the Washington Post, by the way. That's not LaRouche saying that. And it was actually the cover then to put up space planes with a global decapitation system to decapitate state leaders in 1 hour was the plan back in '79, with over 100 of these space planes with Sabo decapitator weapons. Again, they can shoot, let's say your base is 2 miles under a mountain, because you can't be 2 miles under sea level because it gets 150 degrees down there. You got to be under a mountain that's a couple miles high, and then it's 65 degrees. Don't need air conditioning, don't need heating. And they could shoot 2-3 miles right into a mountain with the stuff they had in the 70s. Right through granite with the DU weapon. But there's so much kinetic force that it creates a multi-megaton explosion. And then they throw it in your face with movies like Last Starfighter, where the aliens come in with the meteor guns.
Now you can watch The Alex Jones Show live as it happens at Infowars.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
More than 60 movies and documentaries all in one place at Infowars.com/show.
All right, let me just go through some of the headlines here so you know what's coming up. But Staff Sergeant retired Joe Biggs is going to be in studio giving us his take on Bo Bergdahl, supposedly held for years by the Taliban, Al-Qaeda. And we said it looked like a staged exfiltration, probably with an Al-Qaeda cell controlled by the West. It's just like ISIS is, because we've seen this before, being released. And we said he'll just be basically put back in the general public. If that's the case, they'll have some new distraction about will he be tried for murder or, you know, aiding and abetting enemy combatants or whatever. I don't think so. This was done to cover up the VA scandal, but we'll get Joe Biggs' take on that. But what's really important coming up is Joe has all these incredible videos and photos of stuff he did in Afghanistan and Iraq that's never before been seen. And I said, man, you got to put this out on air. I know Esquire wrote some articles about it. But you really need to release some of this. So he said, well, what do you think I ought to release? And I said, well, this van full of plastic explosives with U.S. passports and how they were going to come basically bomb the U.S., you know, the fact that there were real terrorists, we'd like to know about that. So you're going to see photos of that if you're a TV viewer. Radio listener, you'll hear about it. And then by tonight, it'll be on the nightly news, the video, and then posted for everybody by tomorrow with an article at Infowars.com. But Joe is going to start making contact with all these military people that are already sending us videos, photos. He'll be vetting it and bringing out a lot of this battlefield footage and photos that never see the light of day, both from the past and currently. And he's helping us go through all of that. So that'll certainly freak out the Pentagon. But that is coming up in the next segment. Real news, real journalism. That's what we do. Just like we went down and Border Patrol says that the illegals are being let in, that they're bringing them deeper into the country. We talk to our source. They tell us where to go. There are the buses pulling up. On the Mexican side, they get on U.S. buses. The Border Patrol gives them money. And the illegals are bussed deeper in. That was 4 weeks ago. Now national news. That's what we do. And we just go where the news takes us. We don't go get a news story and then say, well, we don't agree with this politically, so we're going to cover it up. We just put it out there and let the chips fall where they may. Because this is bigger than just the listeners or bigger than myself. It's about the truth. And it's about that journey and that discovery of what really is true. Knowing yourself, knowing others, and what are the secrets of the universe and what's really going on. Because in the battle against the globalist tyrants, it's going to be reality, not illusion, not delusion, not propaganda that is going to save this country and this world in our minds. We are trapped in a type of purgatory. I woke up about 4 a.m. this morning, and I just thought, you know, the earth is purgatory. It's where you're tested. It's where the decision is made by you about which side you're going to choose to be on. And all of us have our struggles every day with evil. But what matters is which way your heart turns. Like David, a man after God's own heart, did a lot of terrible things, but truly repented and truly was taken over by his flesh and had courage. Because I'll tell you this, folks, God hates a coward. And the universe hates a coward. Whatever you want to call it. Now, coming up, Dick Cheney, this is rich, says Obama has exceeded constitutional authority by use of executive power. He's the guy that argued that even the vice president had unlimited power. But you know it's getting bad when Dick Cheney. That is the pot calling the kettle black. Alex Jones here to break down some exciting developments in the area of research concerning supplemental iodine. It's nothing less than phenomenal. I began to get into iodine a few years ago because it was helping me and my family so much get healthy and detoxify. And I used some of the mainline iodine supplements and they upset my stomach and I had some issues with it. Until I discovered a product being developed by Dr. Group, who I was already interviewing as an expert on my radio show, and I began taking the product before he actually rolled it out. You now know it as Survival Shield True Nascent Iodine that your body can really absorb. Then, about a year ago, he said, listen, if you think this is powerful, I'm going to come out with rare earth, deep earth crystals that are incredibly powerful that no one else has as a source for their iodine from between 7,000 and 12,000 feet, literally drilled out of the ground. You put it on a hot plate and it turns into the pure gas. No one else has 99.99% pure iodine. And the results that I personally have had have been life-changing. I was over 270 pounds. And with the iodine, exercise, and better diet, I have lost now more than 50 pounds total, and I'm continuing to lose the weight. I have more energy, my libido, all this crap came out of my skin. I believe our research is conclusive. This is the best iodine out there. And I know this for a fact. Nobody else has got iodine based on these pure crystals, ladies and gentlemen. This is innovating. This is trailblazing. And the best part is it helps fund Infowars.com, the radio show, the TV show, the whole media operation promoting true libertarian ideas. For a limited time, experience the ancient power of Survival Shield X2. Take advantage of this unprecedented 30% off Super Detox special at InfoWarsLife.com.